Welcome to the Rebel Road Show.
How many tulips is too many tulips?
We're talking with people making money off the beaten path. Let's kick it over to Madeline, who's got some drinks for us.
Tequila, gin.
Oh, and I'm getting paid for this too? Dope.
Every shoot's almost Fyre Fest, right? We're a picture of a sandwich away from just being canceled. Every shoot. Cheers. So, Dirty Water Don and Brother John, welcome to the Rebel Road Show.
Thank you for having us.
You're the first guest that got into a fender bender on the way here, so that's a little interesting.
Yeah, our cameraman, Josh, rear-ended a woman. And ironically enough, he hits her. Her car gets totaled, and then she gets arrested. Not sure what happened there.
Well, I'm glad you guys made it down. You've been popping up my feed a lot. This has been a big 2 weeks for you here. I mean, it's been a crazy 2 months, but in the last 2 weeks, some exciting stuff has happened, and we're happy to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So, John Reeves goes on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he starts a bone rush in the East River.
I'm going to start a bone rush.
A bone rush.
Yes, sir.
Claiming that Henry Frick's company sent about 50,000 bones or something like that.
50 tons.
50 tons.
50 tons
Railroad
of
car
mammoth
full.
bones to the American Museum of National History, and that he found evidence that they dumped it in the East River, starting this bone rush. And you guys seem to be one of the first crews out there, and on top of that, you found some evidence.
Yes. So the story of how it started is actually really funny. So our one diver we work with, Cortez, like a brother to us, he calls me like 5 a.m. He wakes up very early. He jogs, and he looks up to David Goggins. I'll give you a mental picture.
Real hog nut.
Okay.
Yeah, real truck, hugs and trees, eating nuts, jogging. Not like clearly how we operate our lives. So he calls me 5 a.m. and he's like, hey, there's bones. Goes on this big rant about it. And my wife looks at me and goes, it's 5 a.m. I was like, Cortez, fuck off. Hung the phone.
Okay.
So the next day, my brother calls me. Now it's New Year's Eve. So you're thinking your brother's calling you Happy New Year's.
Right.
That's what you think, right? 12:30, Happy New Year's. Hey, it's my turn.
Nope.
What's up? He goes off. He listens to like all Joe Rogan's podcasts. He's a big podcast guy.
Okay.
So he's giving me facts, not just like excitement.
All of a sudden, he's an expert in the steppe bison.
He knew everything there is to know about everything.
Absolutely.
So I'm listening to him. I was like, what do you want to do? He goes, I want to get out there tomorrow.
You're swimming in the East River? Yeah. The most heavily trafficked, overly contaminated waterway on the eastern seaboard?
Technically, Norfolk has more gross tonnage.
First, he wanted to go that night, 12:30 at night. I'm like, well, they've been there for like 70 years. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Just to get an eye view of the area that they would be in.
So he convinces me and Cortez to go out there that night.
Mind you, we just had our premiere January 1st, New Year's Day, of our show on Discovery Channel.
Right, you guys are on the show Sewer Divers. That's why we have our complimentary drinks. We brought Alex in. She's a lifeguard at Sandy Hook. Alex, what are we drinking today in honor of these guys?
So today's drink is called Dirty Water. Despite the name, it's a little sweet. We got rum, vodka, and some sweetened half and half iced tea and lemonade.
All palmy action.
Yeah, a little bit. And then you got a lime to finish off on the side.
So that's in honor of your shows. Sewer Divers was a fantastic show on Discovery Plus. And
that is delicious.
it's an exciting chapter in your lives that is now kind of culminated to this bone rush, which has been getting a lot of press. So
A lot of press.
January.
So that's January 1st, our premiere. I'm on the front porch of his house telling him we got to get out there immediately because if you're not first, you're last.
Right.
And that kind of
That doesn't even make sense. You're second, third, and fourth.
That's right. So we get out there the second. We go out there at night with Cortez, myself, and my brother, and we make a plan.
Yeah, we survey the area.
And now it's right next to Rockefeller University, East 65th Street.
Right. And East River Drive. Yeah. Okay.
Well, East River Drive's slightly behind it, but the walkway, the waterfront along the university, there's a little park there.
So we go out there. We look at it. I'm like, well, it's feasible. It can be done, but this is treacherous. We need a boat that can handle it. We need something that can handle all the dive gear with a motor, a big motor. So he goes, call Randy King. He's got boats. I'm like, all right. So Randy King's boat. So I call Randy, thinking we're going to have to give this guy a pitch from hell for him to agree to give us a $30,000 boat to go throw it in this treacherous area.
And what makes it so treacherous?
It's 7-knot current, and that tidal estuary leads into Hell's Gate.
What's Hell's Gate? That sounds pretty treacherous.
Yes, that's why it's called Hell's Gate. It's 3 bodies of water converge into one location, and there's like never slack tide there that makes these whirlpools. It's just crazy diving.
Alex, you ever heard of Hell's Gate?
I have not.
We're the Google. Check it out.
Worth a Google? Okay, we'll
Worth a
have to
Google.
do that.
So Hell's Gate, we're right off of Hell's Gate. So we call Randy just to see what happens. And Randy's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "I need a boat." He goes, "Say less. What do you need it for?"
Say less. On January 2nd, he's saying
Say
say
less.
less.
I go, "We want to go dive this bone rush." He goes, "Say more. What's the bone rush?" So I give the phone to John because he knows it. John pitches him. Within 2 minutes of the pitch, Randy's come tomorrow, get the boat.
Wow. Now, you heard that, because after that podcast episode, there was a lot of people who are like, this is bullshit. If it's there, there's no way it's still there.
Yeah, exactly. Like my brother said, I listen to Joe Rogan podcast. I listen to every single one he's ever put out. Anyone associated with him, I listen to those podcasts.
So you're saying you're a fan?
So I'm a big fan.
Okay.
So when I was listening to it, it felt like John Reeves was speaking to me. Like, because this is what we do. We dive in the river. This is our thing. Like,
Look me dead in the eyes. He spoke to
when
me.
he said
He called you in the middle of December, like, we're moving to Alaska.
we're doing this, yeah. So when he
I got
said
airplane
it,
tickets, let's go.
when he said it, I got chills up my spine, and I saw us finding mammoth tusks and bones, and I saw us like this is where we are now. Like I saw this happening. So
Some hell of mushrooms.
and I didn't really have to sell many people. Everyone was like in a row, like, yes, let's do this. Yes, let's do this. So we go up January 3rd to Randy King's yard, and we get out. Now it's about maybe 6 inches of visibility. There's so much fog.
That was sketchy.
That morning.
That
And
morning,
how much
January
traffic is
3rd.
going by there?
On the boat, there wasn't any
None.
traffic because there was so much fog. You couldn't see 6 inches past the
Any
boat.
commercial vessels were grounded because of the
Okay.
fog. But Randy's like, go ahead.
Have at it.
So
We had a compass.
yeah, I'm driving a boat by compass,
Cell phones.
and a compass map.
And a
That's-
$30,000 boat.
Zero
Chock full about
visibility.
40 grand of dive gear.
And I barely had experience driving boats to begin with.
His license, the ink just dried.
I just got my license just past summer, boat
He
license.
Randy.
just got it.
What are we doing,
But he has
Randy?
trusted me. Like
Okay.
this guy,
Good friend.
This guy could do it.
Yeah. So we get there, and we get down to the Tappan Zee Bridge, and I see these giant towers in the sky. I'm like, what is this? I'm freaking out because I'm like, there's like UFOs coming because I don't realize the bridge is right there.
Okay.
Because the
And
fog
finally,
is so
as
bad.
soon as we pass the bridge, it clears up just enough for me to full throttle. Now we're heading down the Hudson, about to
Embark on a mission. A mission from God.
massive bone rush.
Mission from John Reeves.
So what tools do you bring to try to find these tusks that maybe are at the bottom? And also, how deep is it?
Some locations are 80 feet. Some locations are 20 feet. Where we are in the canal, it all tapers. So depending on where you launch and where you drop the diver, depending how deep it is. So some locations will hit 34 feet that day, and some locations are 60 feet. And if you go in the middle of the trench, it's around 80. So we have to map that out for how many divers we have that day. So if you're diving 60 feet, that's 60 for 60. 60 minutes in the water. You got to give yourself some time to get up. So you get about 45 to 50 minutes of working time. So we have myself, Jonathan Santiago, a.k.a. The Legend, Stefan Cortez with an S. He's adamant about that. He doesn't have a Z in his name. It's an S.
Okay.
Colombian.
I'm just a Colombian man. So the three of us, on average, are out there. We also have Chris, who's on a rebreather. He does scuba, but like a real fancy tech diver with his rebreather. And we share the load. So I'll dive 60 minutes. I'll come up. Cortez will launch 60 minutes. And the tools we have is our hard hats, our harnesses. I carry a scraper, a magnet. And I usually have an aluminum rod to probe the mud if I come across mud, so we can find anything below the mud.
And about 60 pounds of weight he has
Yeah,
on wearing.
about
'cause the current's so
45 to
crazy.
60 pounds of lead weight on our chest.
Now, what's your pitch to them? Was it the line that, like, hey, Rogan said, if you find the tusks, I'm going to have you on, and it was like a PR thing,
That
like
was
this is
about
going to be
50%
huge for
of it.
our company and huge for us having this new TV show? Or was it, these tusks are worth something, let's see how much money we can make?
I want one for my mantle.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys were spending their tusk money on the boat. They're like, we're gonna buying these, we're buying high mileage Ferraris because we're not dumb. They were spending money. I'm like, mine's going on my mantle.
And like,
Hang it up.
how much are these things worth?
They're broken ones that are going for a couple $100,000. Like a pristine one, I think they said it was like 12-foot long, pristine one, $250,000
But
or more.
the ones these guys have are different than like the Asian mammoths or the Colombian mammoths. Yes, there's Colombian mammoths.
That's right.
We just learned this.
I didn't know
Cortez is very excited about it.
Okay.
Has a T-shirt, everything. So those are cheaper. The ones that are up in Alaska are the North American ones, and they're much more sought after and much more valuable.
And these are also would be coming from the East River where they're not supposed to be, and there's a story behind it. The museum dumped them in there.
Right, yeah.
So now you're adding more value to it because there's only a select few of those if we can find them.
Right, there's a magnifying glass on those
Right.
particular
But the other
tusks.
problem we have with this, we don't have a manifest. So we don't know what was in that boxcar.
Right.
So if you were going to step into it and say, listen, it was dumped. If you're on that train, by the way, the pun worked fantastic. I said stepping and train car.
Nice.
So you get on that train with, and you're like, yeah, this is it. I believe they're there. Okay, now what do you believe's in that boxcar? So you can go, was it all pieces of garbage that the museum didn't want if they did do it? Or is it all high-end items like Toss and full mask and full skulls, and they just dumped them because they didn't have space?
And also, do you have Freddie and Sal at the rail yard dumping them in there saying, hey,
This one's
let's
nice.
Let's
We'll
take
keep
a couple
this.
home with us.
Well, it
To
seems
our
that
friends.
nobody thought they were valuable somehow back then.
The war effort was going
The
on
war
as
was
well.
going on as well.
1940 to 1941.
Right.
So if they're coming in, they're not really worried about that.
Yeah, no one cares about dinosaur bones. We're fighting Nazis.
Right. So when was the big discovery happened in February where you got a clue? Tell me about that part of the mission and where did you
So
find that jawbone?
We were seeking out the 65th Street, and then we kept going there day after day, and then John calls me. And John's like, yo, I got this guy talking to me about different locations. Maybe we should check out. So I go, what do you got? And he laid it out for me about a rail yard. The rail yard's name is 65th Street,
Okay.
and it's right next to the Army Barracks.
And on the paperwork that John Reeves shared, nowhere did it say East 65th Street. It just said 65th Street on the paperwork you shared.
And why would you say a boxcar worth?
So this
I
gentleman,
come by train.
shout out to Tom Shark, he shot me on Instagram and in a private message, and he was like, hey, look at these photographs I have. And it was
Him in a
Google
bathing
Earth.
suit.
Yeah,
which
it was
is
weird. Yeah, very
The
strange.
first one was strange.
And then the next one was Google Earth of the 65th Street rail yard. So I was like, hey, we should check this out.
So that's nowhere near that East River Drive,
Downriver.
65th.
Maybe
It's
like
downriver.
3 to 5 nautical miles downriver.
More than that, I'd say 6 or 7.
So
So that's where you started based on this DM.
Mhm.
based on the DM.
So someone slid in his DM.
Hey,
Man, it happens. My wife I got from the DM slide. Just saying.
So I always, I'm a big believer in things are meant to be and like things
Yeah.
happen for a reason. So I took it serious.
and how did this guy? He knew you.
He didn't know me. He was just a guy who started following me. And I was like in Instagram, there's primary message, general message, and then
Yup.
people that you're
Yeah,
not
the
following.
bots.
Yeah. So I always check that every couple of days. And I happened just to check it. And I looked at it and I was like, wow.
And this guy's like, you're looking in the wrong area.
Maybe
Yeah,
you're looking
check
wrong
out over here.
because he went by. It said 65th, not East 65th. And where are you going to dump a railroad car? Not
Right.
over there. It makes no sense.
Right, it makes-
There it makes complete sense because that's where most of the stuff came in for the war effort and for shipments that were coming from either overseas or somewhere in like Canada or wherever like that.
Canucks.
Yeah.
In your initial days,
Mhm.
what are you using to look, and how do you determine whether this area is nothing?
So we would go on what you call search signals. So as a commercial diver, you have an umbilical. That umbilical goes to your hip, and then it goes to the boat. And how you do search signals is the tender will pay off a certain amount of feet, something you pre-discussed. So I say, hey, Cortez, give me 50 feet, that's it. So he'd pay off 50 feet of slack in the water, and he'd hold a tight leash on me. I'd walk backwards the 50 feet until I got taut, and then I'd swing to my left. And I'd swing all the way to my left and all the way to my right. Doing this proceedings, I'd be probing the mud to find anything that it
You
hit
hit
something,
anything,
and then
right.
you dig out. And then he'd take you in 5 feet, and you swing again. And then you got done with that completion of that search, you go back to center, you'd come in 5 feet, and you swing again. It's painstaking.
Found anything yet? We ain't found shit.
But we don't have the $1 million boats that do side sonar. Plus, the mud there would be difficult to get any kind of readings. So we did the old school way of just and move forward and keep going.
And how confident are you that it's not buried way the fuck down there?
Because the original rail yard that was there, that they have since demolished and then put a new one in. Demolished the word. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this.
It's a new word.
Sounds good.
Demolished. What?
Sounds good.
All right.
Webster, reach out to us.
They talk to him? Good. So those railroad ties we found, the ones they demoed. And
And they were not buried.
the sample that we found was above that.
Okay.
So we're confident that if they are there, they're only about 2 feet down in the
And
mud.
no major work has been done there in
Yeah.
that area.
And who found the jawbone?
So this particular dive we did, one of our divers, Chris Ogden. I'm butchering.
T
last
Blackwater Research on
Yes,
Instagram?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. So he dives a rebreather. That particular day, we weren't scheduled to dive there. That's why we didn't have our whole crew with us. We were going to go dive a shipwreck in Connecticut as like a little recreational fun day. And Cortez wasn't confident in his gear. And the boat captain was like, well, I'm not going to dive this kid if he doesn't feel confident. Which it was a safety call. It was his call. He's the captain.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I'm not going to dive without Cortez. That's messed up. We drove out here 2 hours together. I'll wait with him. So Chris comes out of the water. He's like, oh, man, this sucks. I'm like, yeah, whatever. We got all our gear, though. You want to go dive Brooklyn? And they both looked at me like, yeah, we'll go set up a grid system. So we were going to go put spikes in the ground and put travel lines to make it easier for Chris on his rebreather and for the other guys to follow the grid. That's our game plan for the day. So we go out there, we go do this, and as Chris is putting spikes in the ground, he digs it out. It's like, holy shit, what is this?
Wow.
Cleans it off, and that's what it was. So we contacted Kenzie Reed, John Reed's son. We talked to John and Kenzie, and they were like, that is 100%, this is what it is. And we're like,
How big is that bad boy?
oh, you're good,
You
yeah.
got it here?
Of course I did.
Wow.
We go to the movies together.
You
Where's-
take it everywhere.
Where's the
This is your
seatbelt in the
baby?
car?
Wear
Yeah.
the seatbelts.
Have you had someone examine this bad boy?
Just the Reed's family.
And they've seen hundreds of these.
Wow.
Still has river mud on it. So that's dried river mud. I want to clean it in the worst way possible.
They said don't.
I was told by everyone not to.
So he, making his grid, stumbles upon this.
Stumbles upon it.
And then what's it like when he emerges with this bad boy in the boat?
He said a few choice words. He was like, oh, fudge, darn,
Frick.
frack. He actually said fucking amazing, as he said. And he's screaming at the top of his lungs, and Cortez is trying to record him, and Cortez is trying to take back his excitement. Now I think they're fucking with me. I don't think it's a real fight. I think they're just messing around.
On this day that you weren't even supposed to be out there.
to be there.
I'm in Waco at this moment.
He wasn't
too.
even home.
I was in Texas. Doing some
You're
real
in
estate.
Waco.
Yeah.
Buying the cold compounds. That's what you're in the shopping
I know
for?
the coincidence.
That's only
David.
one-
The
that's
30
just one
I know the
bugaboo,
30th
actually.
anniversary of Waco's coming up, but it's just coincidence.
So, and you guys are talking to Cortez while he's down there the whole
No,
time?
Chris was
Oh,
down
Chris
there.
was down
Chris
there.
is on a rebreather, so Chris can't communicate with us.
Okay.
So Chris, when he comes up, he shows Cortez on land.
Whoa.
And it was a huge roar or whatever. Everyone was very excited.
A lot of chubbies.
So
Chubby.
joke's on you. I was waistbanding it, right in the waistband. And so first thing we did was contact the Reed's family because they were the ones who can definitively tell us what we got. And after we spoke with them, they're like, whatever you do does not leave your sight, number one, and trust no scientist. I was like, okay. Joke's on you. I don't trust anyone anyway. So joke's on you.
That's the Jersey in you.
Yes, right.
So Don calls a pharmacist right away.
Yes. So I asked, I was like, well, what am I supposed to do then? If he goes, I'm telling you what it is, kid. This is what it is. I'm positive. Don't give it to a lab because these guys, their goal in life is to be published with museums.
Right.
And if they want to get on the good side of a museum, debunking you is the way to go.
So what is the goal for AMNH to debunk this? Just the embarrassment of having dumped all these bones?
If I was going to speculate, I don't know exactly what the legal end of this would be. But can you imagine if you dumped something that was worth, let's say, hypothetically $1 billion, and someone could prove you did it?
Right.
Then I guess you owe somebody $1 billion.
That shit was like 70 years ago.
Did they put a statute of
They
limitations on
also
it?
denied it many, many times. John Reeves also went to the museum to get these bones in the basement. They told him that they were doing asbestos abatement in the basement. He couldn't get them for X amount of years or whatever it is. When that time came up, he was already busy doing the bone rush in Alaska he found. So he kind of was like, oh, well, is it worth my time right now? And then he said years goes by, and he's like, you know what, it isn't worth my time. And he got lawyers involved, and he went after them, and they said, well, they're not here. And they found the paperwork saying they were dumped.
Right. So John Reeves bought this company that was owned
Mining
by
company, correct.
Henry Frick, some oil tycoon, and he found paperwork.
Everything that goes with that mining company, anything that was ever found, is now property of John Reeves. So he knew that the museum had this product, the samples, and he wanted them back because they belong to him now legally.
Wow. So that's the
And he already stated on the podcast that anybody finds anything,
it's free game.
that-
Yeah,
that
and I
he-
just want a
he
remote
gives it up,
holder.
yeah.
He wanted to
I want a
start.
Mammoth Tusk remote holder. That's what I want. You guys all want fame and fortune, and that's all good.
You just
I
want a
hold my
trophy.
remotes. I want a trophy.
Okay.
Because they're making new money, new podcasts, new TV shows every day. They're not making new Tuss.
So you guys got a lot of media attention from this. Like, you posted that photo, and how quickly were you like trending and people were hitting you up?
I improved on my followers from that photo about 7,000. We already had a
I
good
doubled
Off
up.
the Rogan repost.
yeah. We got 7,000 off the Rogan repost.
I doubled up by I think 22,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is Discovery Plus just going crazy? Like, holy shit, look at
You
this
would-
free PR.
You would think that.
Yeah.
You would think that.
But they didn't. No contact, nothing.
No, they contacted and they wanted us to shout out the show and doing these proceedings and go on the news platforms and things of that
So
nature.
I think they're putting all their weight behind 1,000-Pound Sisters. They don't care about us anymore.
1,000
There's a show called 1,000 Pound Sisters.
Yeah.
So they just wanted you to plug the show.
Yeah,
Understandable.
I get it. I get it. But the problem is, taking news people out on the river costs money.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go into that. How expensive is this
This expedition.
trek? Yeah, this expedition to
As
go out there
of-
every day in this $30,000 boat.
As of today, we are into it for 28,000
$28,000.
Give
That's
or
not
take some
including
pennies.
your labor that you guys are all doing.
Or my lunch.
for
Or his lunch.
Well, he has the first lunch, the second lunch, the third lunch is what gets expensive.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
The
Usually.
third lunch.
Well, it usually ends with seafood. That's the problem.
Yeah. Plus pocket snacks.
Pocket snacks are pricey.
I'm a big pocket snacks
He
fan.
likes the Jack Link's beef jerky, which, by the way, is like $17 a pound. So
Jerky's way too expensive.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So you do this, you find this. How many more people now are in the East River looking for this shit?
it's still too cold.
It's too cold.
We are set up for commercial diving. We are set up with hot water suits. We're set up with the proper gear. See, people look at us on the boat and they see a diver in the water. They're like, wow, that guy, his balls are this big and it's so impressive. Or hers. We like to let anyone dive. So it doesn't matter who's in the water. They're the most comfortable person on the job.
It's like bath water between
Yeah, we're not-
cold
we're in a
water
hot
and
tub.
your
Right,
skin.
right.
You have a thin membrane of beautiful
The
water.
guys on the
between
boat
are
are pretty
freezing.
cold. Yeah.
They're the ones.
Yeah,
that
so they
suffer.
want any credit. It's the guys on the boat then. Especially him. He doesn't dive with us. He navigates the deck and makes sure everything's where it's supposed
Papa
to be.
Bear.
Papa
Make
Bear.
sure
okay.
Like a
things
Papa
are,
Bear.
everyone's safe and
Yeah.
everyone
He
having
does
a good
pop
time.
He's on
a
the
lot.
lookout for pirates.
Yeah. Sorry.
So no, you still are the only ones pretty much out there.
Yes, we had some guys from YouTube come out, and
They're divers in like Florida. They dive
in like little
canals and all
creeks,
the
rivers,
creeks
if
over
you
there.
will.
They have a lot of followers.
Yeah, they're different. Respectfully, they hold their own.
They
The East
dove-
River is 7 knots. It's no visibility.
they
It's
dove for 6
35,
minutes.
38 degrees. It separates recreational guys from guys that are getting a living doing this.
Now that current, you don't think that it would have moved these tusks or jawbones along? Like over the 70 years, it's.
Oh yeah, they'll move.
You think that some may still be down?
That's
there.
why we started. Well, some tusks are 200 pounds.
So they're not
We-
moving.
They're not
Plus, we
moving.
don't know how they were dumped in there. If they were dumped in there at that
By a
spot,
truck, off a barge, off the
at all.
bridge. Off
were
of
they in
Rhode
the
Island.
original cases that they were in? Because when you move bones and stuff like that, you wrap
Right.
them in this special stuff.
Yes, I also watched
cheesecloth
Ark of the
stuff.
Covenant. Yes.
Sometimes they're casted, and then they're in the crates, wooden crates. So are they taken out of that? Are they left in that?
Well, let's take a picture as a moment of a New York City dock worker.
They're not
You
doing any
think
work.
that some bitch cracked open those cases?
No,
he's like,
Right.
they're dumping
They
in
dump
all
those-
in. So
Yep.
they're gonna sink pretty fast, I think, 'cause that's a lot of weight.
Wood floats. Boats are made out of wood.
Yeah, but the stuff is dense inside that sinks.
Well, okay.
So you think it could have broken when it hit the ground? It could just
They rot away after time.
rot away. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're
There's a lot of things you have to look for. And the worst part about this is a tusk looks like wood after prolonged exposure to the elements. And then after you bring it back to your house, garage, your lab, whatever, and you clean it and polish it, it gives that real nice sheen. Otherwise, it looks like driftwood. You know how much driftwood is at the bottom of the East River?
right.
Every day we're pulling up samples. Every day, 5, 6 at a clip. And you're like, nope. It's a lot of tedious work.
Made a couple pipes out of them, though.
And how much have you covered?
As of right now, we've covered damn near all of 65th Street. So we started at the bridge, and we worked all the way down to the mezzanine walkover, which is 71st?
Yes.
Around 71st,
Wow.
which is probably 3 football fields, put in perspective, and then about 60 feet off the wall. So we did almost all of that area till then we started looking over by the railroad station, the yard. We also have 2 other locations we're going to look at this week. We've had divers who have retired over the years that either have moved way out of state or in other countries. And they have contacted us saying, yo, listen, bro, we've dove X, Y, and Z, and we found bones there 10, 15 years ago. We just dismissed them, and we were there doing a job. So there's the 2 different locations we're going to go look at this week.
So if anyone's going to crack this case, it's most likely you guys, because now that you're the leaders in this chase, you're getting all sorts of people
Leads,
coming out of
yeah.
the woodwork. Have you gotten any pushback from the city or the museum or?
The museum, no. I mean, I did send them a bunch of nudes thinking they might respond. They did not. They did not. The cops, when we first started these proceedings, they come over and tell us we can't tie off on the wall.
Okay.
Only anchor.
You can only anchor, which anchoring in that section of river is,
luck.
yeah, because your bottom is all rock. It's not mud or sand, it's rock. So you have to hopefully catch a rock.
And
that's
when you
big
do
enough.
catch it, the tide changes and then it shoots back the other way.
So it takes us like an hour and a half to anchor every day, which is a pain in the ass.
And what's the visibility down there? 6 feet, you said, in front of you?
No, where we're at in that part of the river is about 12 inches and 2 feet.
And what, so you're using anything? It's just by feel?
Your 10 eyes.
You're just trying to feel for it. Wow.
It's time consuming.
Now, is there something that like an investment of underwater drone or LiDAR or something?
Well, we were shooting drones. We had a drone out there, and for the third day we launched the drone, and we come across this pile, and we were like, we got it. I think he called and quit his job. Like everyone was like, we got it, we're rich. No, Cortez bought his Lambo already. He's on eBay buying it, right? High mileage, of course, because we're not idiots, right? High mileage.
That's right.
So it looks the same way in the driveway, high mileage or low mileage,
yep.
right? So it come across all these different sizes, and they have the look. They're coming to a point, the side's fat, different size diameter. Like, we got it.
So I share a picture of this on my Instagram and it just sends everyone to a frenzy. And I even have one dude, some YouTuber or whatever, he made a conspiracy video about me on it already.
Yes.
That was
What
my
does he
highlight.
say? Are you Illuminati?
No,
Did
nothing
you
like
make
that.
it?
Just like, I have a show on Discovery Channel. Am I in cahoots with John Reeves?
Are they paying
You
us?
know who also has a show on Discovery Channel? And it was the guy who found the Bigfoot skeleton.
That tend to be fake.
So like he compared me to that and everything. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
He caught me.
I do see a lot of hate in the comments of people saying that you planted the jawbone and it was all for publicity and blah, 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 blah. But $28,000 is a lot.
I only
that.
figured that out after 2 months. I can plant something.
Right,
I
right.
should do that on day 2.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot. Fiscally, I know what I'm doing.
You combat those people, though. You
Yeah,
respond.
I
You
call them
don't.
jerk-offs.
No, I don't respond.
You
I
don't.
laugh because someone called me. They referred to me as I look like Samwise from
Who's that?
Game of Thrones.
No, Samwise is the Lord of the Rings.
Sam Well.
I always wanted to be a wizard.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny,
I got a chuckle out of it.
but no, I don't respond to it because it's a waste of my time.
And so
I have to be passive aggressive.
you do.
He's got that kind of time.
Like, yeah, jerk off. I've been
Yeah.
here for 2 months.
You got me. I like to, well, if I did a television show, I'm like, well, you didn't. But when you have a TV show, you do it this way.
Right.
I like to respond with that.
Yeah, you're not really using it to promote the show.
I
You're
want
getting
one,
in trouble with Discovery, actually.
I want one to hold my remotes. Like, no one's taking me serious. I have my daughter, she's autistic, right? And she washes her hair with one of the original phonograph covers of Thomas Edison photographs. She washes her hair with it.
You found that thing?
I have one, yes. You made 7 of them, the original set. I have the horn.
Where did you find that?
We knocked down a house in Baskin Ridge that was owned by Lord Sterling, part of the Washington General Army. He was one of his generals. And we demoed the house.
We get around.
You get around.
We
You
get around.
But see, we like old shit.
specialize in ancient shit.
Yeah, but we don't want it to share. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'll put it in a museum. I'll put it by glass. We appreciate it. And I have it on I have bells from boats. I have Lord Sterling's hand-carved mantle with the SH Sterling House.
Wow.
Like, we like
Also,
old
just
stuff.
want everyone to know we didn't condone anything Lord Sterling did. By the way,
Yeah.
Sure, it's
he
bad
wasn't a very
stuff.
nice man.
He was a nice man.
You just like
I
his.
take his stuff.
You like his stuff.
So, like, for example, she washes her hair with that.
It's pretty awesome.
Sterling silver. It's dope. She's like, yeah, washes her hair. And people looking like, that needs to be in a museum. I'm like, nah, it doesn't.
So you really are going to use it for your remotes.
I guess, yes.
So you guys got all into this because you are commercial divers, but your TV show is the work that you do in the New York City sewers. So you're actually like the perfect guys to do this search because you're very familiar
With the area.
with the area.
the water, the no visibility.
Plus, we're 2 wild and crazy guys.
Yeah.
We're 18 months apart.
Yeah. How do you get into this line of work? When did you decide that I'm going in the dirty water and this is what we're doing? It was like one trip to Aruba when you were a kid and you were just like, I love scuba.
I was working for a company called International Tank Services as a welder. Now, they weld and manufacture storage tanks for jet fuel, kerosene, anything pretty much. And they had divers that worked for them. I talked to one guy and we Long story short, I left that conversation and I Googled world's most dangerous job. At the time, my ex-wife, she looked into it because I was like, this is what I want to do. I came home that weekend after working, and she had a pamphlet open of the school. She goes, "There's one in Jersey." I was like, "Huh." All right,
It was
call
a
them.
school to
To do commercial diving, yeah, in
commercial
Jersey.
diving.
Now, the
So you
woman who
both-
owned that school,
That was
Nina Go,
he did that first. I was still doing my own thing.
Okay.
that's the woman that ran that school is now in jail.
what?
The school closed down. It was discredited. It was a big thing. So I got my license prior to it happening. So thank you for that.
And you
And-
started commercial
So
diving.
I got in the union. Big shout out to Bobby Maz, my rabbi. He got me in the union. That's what they call it. The guys.
Shalom.
Yeah, he got me in the union. He took care of me. And
But commercial diving could mean a lot of things. When did
Yes.
when did someone's like, you got to go in the sewer?
we did a lot of sewer dives prior to the television show. I'm not just a sewer diver. I'm a certified underwater welder. Timber work, concrete repairs, to do scowl and undermining repairs, anodes repairs, ship's husbandry, to name a few. So it wasn't just sewers. Sewers is part of our business, but it's not only just that. And we got hit up by an entertainment group like, "Hey, we like what you're about. Can we have a phone call?"
Well, you guys are the best on the show.
Thank
I mean, no disrespect to the other guys, but
Well, we do sit-ups, and they don't.
right.
That's what it is. We're just physically peak performance.
Also,
of
a
commercial
big
diving.
believer in giving the people what they want.
Yeah, it's
He's
true.
a generous person.
You guys talk shit to each other. There's good camaraderie. You know, it's a
talk shit
good
about me?
crew.
Yeah, sometimes, you
You're
know.
a fucking asshole.
I know.
And also, Dirty Water Don's an amazing name.
Thank you.
How did that come about? Is
Great
that something you gave him?
No,
Oh,
it's a
actually.
great question. Glad you asked it. My ex-girlfriend, many ex-girlfriends ago. By the way, my wife now found I love you. So we had, I met this girl. We were talking back and forth. I'm not sure whose DM we slid in first, hers or mine. Who cares? It's in the past. We were having communications back and forth, and we were having a conversation on her job, and she lost her phone in her office, I believe. And I sat there and I called it, and the name comes up on the phone. I was like, "I'm sorry, what the fuck does that say?" She goes, "Dirty Water Don." I was like, first of all, I've lived in this town my entire life. I only know one Don. That's me. How many Dons do you know? She goes, well, you. I was like, okay, so what's the rest of the title for? She goes, well, you dive in the Hudson River.
Well, I think it works for you though.
It's a good look.
So you owe her a little something.
No, I'm good.
Nah, yeah. It's
I
not
go by
most exes.
Ganimal.
Ganimal?
Ganimal.
I like
That was
it.
high school.
Stupid.
Ganimal and Dirty Water Don. So you start diving in the sewers. What's the craziest shit you've seen down there? It seems like a super dangerous job.
It has its moments. The craziest thing I ever found was a full deer.
A full deer.
Full deer, yep. And which you're like, what do you do with a full deer? I'll tell you what you do. You whack it up with a chainsaw.
Down there, you're just
Yeah.
someone sends down a chainsaw
I
and you
requested
cut up
it.
the deer.
I just got the new chainsaw.
In the New York City sewers, you found
It was
a deer.
in New Jersey sewers.
Okay.
So I come across this clock. It's a clock. I'm like, what is this? Okay, we got some horns. Okay. That's a deer. You're wearing like 3 layers of gloves.
So there's no visibility in there.
Zero. It's just shit. Condoms, tampon applicators, you name it, flying by you.
There's needles.
No, needles float. You're good. That's why you don't stick your head up. Right at you. Go down low.
Yeah. For Alex at Sandy Hook, maybe a little more dangerous.
They're on the water top.
They're on the water
Needles
top.
and applicators. But do you encounter more applicators or more needles?
Probably more applicators,
Right.
but when we get the needles, we gotta close down the ocean.
Dirty buggers,
And
right?
they want to take our straws and plastic
Yeah,
bags
we
away
lost
from
our
us.
straws and our plastic bags, but women's stuff, tampon applicators.
You find tampon applicators?
They're everywhere, bro. So I will have river whistles all day. I'm like, wow, get out of here.
You know, chop.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you're in that like rubber suit.
It's vulcanized rubber.
And are you nervous about, I mean, when they built the New York City sewer line, there was like a cholera outbreak. Are you nervous about disease?
They should be. I'm sealed
That's
up.
where I
with a-
come
next
in.
pandemic
I'm the guy
is
who
I'm
Dirty
cleans.
sealed
Water
up with
Don.
like a sandwich.
I
I'm
clean
good.
him when he comes up.
You clean them.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
It's that smell. That smell, Bob, is our shit.
Are you nervous about what's on him and the fact that you could get sick? I mean,
Not really. I just,
you just hose him down?
He
go
eats a
for
lot
it.
of vitamins.
Yeah?
Yeah.
believe it or not, I try to keep myself healthy.
He has a ginger water tea in the morning.
Yeah? And you're just hosing him down and no worries. It's
Raw
the-
dog in it, huh?
That one episode we did, he like jerked his body because I don't know what happened.
I was
and
dancing.
A piece of like toilet paper that was hanging on his helmet flapped in my face and a little bit got in my mouth.
Oh! I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I open mouth kissed you before.
I played it like a
Disgusting.
champion.
They're gonna call you Wuhan John. That's what they're gonna call you.
Yeah, they will.
Disgusting.
So when you got approached to go into the sewers, what was your response like?
Well, my first response was, I'm busy looking for the Prince of Persia's gold.
Is
And when I'm done with that, I'll help you. I thought it was a scam.
And then hung up on her.
Yeah, I thought it was a scam.
I was like, you're gonna take that call serious?
well, who called you? You guys have this marine solution business, and somebody calls you from the city, and
No, we get an email from an entertainment company stating, we want to shoot a show. We think you'd be perfect for it. Can you take our call? What can we schedule a Zoom call? And I responded with, I'm busy looking for the Prince of Persia's gold. And when I'm free, be sure to call you back.
but you had dove in the sewers prior to that.
Plenty of times. But no one ever offered to pay me.
So they talked to somebody at the city that said, you got to talk to
Well, I
to
believe
Don.
how it went, they talked to a colleague of mine, and he was a picture of me and him, I believe, on his LinkedIn account. And I was much fitter during this photo. The fight and weight, you know? I have tattoos from here to my toes.
Okay.
So they were like, I like his tattoos. I like this guy. Who is he? And he's like, oh, it's a friend of mine. I'll give you his information. And he gave my information out. And when I blew off their email, he calls me. He's like, yo, they're looking for you. I was like, who are these people? He's like, well, they talked to me. They seem legit. Give them a shout. So I called him. I'm like, I'll be on TV before I call these people back. He's like, yeah, it'd be nice. Nice to look
Why
to
not?
You're like, hell yeah.
I got some free time.
No, that's how nonchalant he was. It'd be nice.
It may be nice.
It'd be nice. So I called him back, and I'm like, listen, I'll do your show. I go, my brother's my tender. That's the only way I work. And they were like, good, can we talk to him? So they interviewed him. They liked both
And
of
they
us.
were like, yes. After
you guys are-
Skype interviews, yeah.
They were
You
like,
guys
I
make the
was-
show.
I was sitting on my back porch drinking at noon. Now, I'm not an avid drinker. Not a big avid drinker. Well, it's just for
Says that-
theatrics.
says that
It's for
now.
theatrics,
My
yes.
second one. I don't get out much. 5 kids, I don't get much. So I'm having a Corona. It's my day off. And I was sitting there bullshitting with my boy. And I did a FaceTime call with her, Zoom call. And they're like, you're the guy. And then they called my brother. And they were like, well, both of you.
Both of the guys.
You're the guys.
Yeah.
You're these. You're the guys.
On those days, is that like typical work for you to wake up, drive out there, and do
Sewer work?
sewer work?
Sewer works are few and far between. You probably get those once every 2 or 3 months, maybe. Do an inspection. To get an actual problem, those are probably once every 6 months.
Is there big money in sewer work?
I imagine the guys that are cleaning it, the ones who are sending the tubes down and the cleaning things, those are the guys who are getting the money regularly. It's a good career for them. Probably make $170,000, $180,000 a year. You know, but most towns keep that type of work in-house. So you have your DPWs, Department of Public Works. They deal with the freshwater aspect and the drain water aspect of the town, but also the sewage aspect. I mean, it's tedious work
Yeah.
for those guys. I mean, for us, like I said, it's like few and far between. Probably every 6 months, I'll do a big job.
And you do welding when you go down there? Like if you see some sort of
We've
problem?
had cast iron. We had only once I had a weld. There was a hatch that it broke apart. And I won't name the town because I'm pretty sure I signed an NDA. I had a hatch. I had to weld the hatch.
Okay.
That was it. And I've repaired stairs. So you drill out the old stair. You put new concrete stairs in.
I mean, it's important work because if the sewer system breaks down,
If
then
it fails, everything goes behind it.
then there's some bad things happen. You're like on a Carnival cruise ship that's
It's covered in shit.
yes. So
Did you just plug Carnival Cruise?
no, but you ever heard of the poop boat?
Are they paying you?
Oh, yeah.
Like basically there's an explosion that happened on board and they're basically everything pumped up in the
So it
toilets.
was like inches of sewage water in the
started
hallways,
coming up out of the
rooms.
toilets and
Yeah.
it became a toxic environment and people had to be on the top of the deck.
I think they gave them like, what,
Intense.
20% off the next cruise or something?
They had to be on the top of the deck because everyone was patrolling the rows of rooms in hazmat suits and they had to be helicoptered off. It was literally the poop boat. But so
So matter if you're first class or bottom deck.
yeah. Your
You're
shit's
the-
coming up in
you're
the
the
toilet.
shit, they're the
Yeah,
same.
you're in a
Right.
tent.
That's
That's
great.
exactly.
Yeah.
But your experience down in the sewer,
If something goes wrong, you can cripple the entire town
right?
or entire area.
So it's important work.
It's very important, and no one ever thinks about that. Everyone thinks
Right.
they flush the toilet and they're done. They don't think about where it goes, how it gets processed. Like we discussed and made jokes about the applicators. The applicators are getting into our waterways because they're being flushed.
Mm,
It's not because people are going on the West Side Highway and like, oh, put it out the window.
they're
No,
flushing.
they're flushing them. And the plastic floats and it goes over the trash racks. It gets through the processing areas and goes right to the storm drains.
and then into the ocean where Alex sees them on the
Do
beach.
you guys have a fun name for them? We call them river whistles.
We call them beach whistles,
Beach
actually.
whistles, okay.
yeah.
beach whistles?
What do you guys call condoms?
We don't get that many. I don't think we have any.
Jersey Shore, dirty buggers. That's what it is.
Jersey trout.
Bunch of sailors.
Go port to port.
Have you found alligators in the sewers? Because there's that urban legend that there's
No, excuse me, but in our hometown of Lyndhurst, they pulled out a 5-foot croc out of the Passaic River
About
recently.
8 years ago. Oh, that's a new one.
New one,
It
yeah,
did-
about 4 years ago.
It happened again, like 7 years ago. It happened, and then recently again it happened. Again.
Which was great because when we were kids, any body of water we drove over, no matter what it was, a pond, a creek, a puddle, John would ask my mother, "So alligators in there?" Always.
I was curious.
He was always
as a
asked.
kid.
As a kid.
Yeah, because we used to drive down to Florida. My grandparents lived down there, and they would say, "Oh, there's most likely alligators in there." So I assumed
There's alligators in
there's
every body of
all
water.
water.
There was like I read some story. There was a massive hunt in like the 50s based on this. Someone said they saw an albino alligator in the sewers, and like all the sewer men coming up were saying that hey, there's alligators down there. So they did this search. They did a massive hunt. They did find some, and it was rumored that people had gotten them as pet, like
The
baby
reptile
alligators
can
as
function
pets,
in
and
the
either
city.
flushed it or threw it down the sewer drain.
There's not too many of those, but there's what, like 50-pound rats down there sometimes.
Yeah,
50
they jack
pound
their
rats.
wallet, bro.
They're
They're
like they're the size of like
a raccoon.
that cocker spaniel.
So with your 10 eyes, you're feeling 50-pound rats?
Well, we found dead ones.
Yeah,
dead
float,
ones.
So what I
yeah.
had to do is sometimes when the manhole's open, not a lot of current, I'll throw them up.
You'll throw them up,
So
Yeah.
much fun.
But this one time I did
and you're
that.
up there.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
It went up and then went right back down. So gravity was absolute that day. There was no wind. It went right back on top of me. So I stopped doing that because it kind of went bleh when it came back down.
Is that the nastiest thing you found down there? Is this 50-pound rat?
No.
What's the dead bodies,
Yeah, you don't get full bodies. You get body parts.
body parts.
Yeah.
You're like, this is a human arm. Get any corpses on Sandy Hook? You do?
You get corpses but no condoms. I find that to be alarming about the shore.
Are the corpse wearing condoms?
Yeah. Because we're having a pool party for the big guy. We're gonna need some lifeguards.
You might want to recruit her. She's like college swimmer. Her sister just broke. She's got swimming in her bloodline. They're like mermaids.
Nice.
We actually all have swimming on our bloodline. All of us swam and won.
Right.
Josh, that's all Josh ever won.
Proud of you for putting the camera down.
No, he
buddy.
won the fender
Proud of you.
bender this morning.
I laughed
One person
so hard.
left in handcuffs.
You gotta-
Josh is here.
You hit him.
Oh, thank you. Thank
You
you.
don't have a little fresher?
You're in the sewers. When you're not doing that, what kind of other commercial work? Or you're just hobbyists that are looking for treasure?
Looking for stuff. Recently, our crew started doing recreational dives. I always made fun of scuba divers. I've compared scuba divers to LARPers. Nothing against those cats.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Have run with it, bro.
Stay away from me.
No, you can hang out with me. But I compare scuba divers to LARPing. Because
Like medieval times.
Yeah, look at their getup. You look ridiculous. Your little fins, your little BC, got a little mask, you know. You look ridiculous. Let's be honest. You look ridiculous. I look like Jocko fucking Stowe.
You look like
an
the,
asshole.
you look
Yeah.
like the things at the
Scuba
bottom of the
Steve.
fish tank.
Yeah, I'm Scuba Steve. So I don't particularly like scuba divers. Now, I've talked a lot of trash about it over the years.
But you
lately,
are a scuba diver.
Technically, now I am because we're going scuba diving on wrecks. You don't realize what an insignificant cunt you are. I told you I was going to say it. When a whale goes by you and you're in the water. Here's like
Not me swimming either. An actual whale.
an actual whale.
She had 5 whale sightings this summer, I think,
Were you
right?
swimming next to him? No. See? Thank God. So I'm down on the bottom. I'm minding my business. I'm actually glomming conch for my tender. My tender's like, bro, is there any conch down there? I'm like, what's a conch? So he explains to me what a conch is. I'm like, yeah, there is.
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
So I grabbed like 5 or 6 to him in a bag, and he goes, hey, diver. I'm like, what's up? He goes, stay on bottom.
He didn't want to spook you that there's a
I was
giant
like, no,
whale.
why? He goes, just stay there. This went on for more than it should have. Why? Back and forth. I'm talking to a 2-year-old. And then on my desk, I moved. I was like, what the? Kung Fu. Whale went by.
Yeah, you don't think when you're in the waters out, when you see the city buildings and you see the big skyscrapers, that there's all this marine life that's actually right outside New York City. Like there's sharks, there's whales, I saw seals chilling on ice patches in the winter.
Yeah,
like,
you get a lot of seals up
Crabs
in
are
the sound.
dickheads.
the crabs.
Yeah, oh, I hate
Yeah, they
crabs.
attack you.
So crabs, if you're a diver and you see a crab in front of you, he's like, "Pata, pata, pata." You're like, oh, hey, little buddy. There's 20 behind you.
Mm.
There's always 20 behind you.
Someone interviewed you, and I read in the interview that you were talking about how dangerous the sewer gig was, and that if you see 2 guys standing above a manhole, don't
Assume
get
they're
pissed.
doing nothing.
Don't assume they're doing nothing. What are those guys doing? Because I'm not going to throw shit at anybody.
They're doing nothing.
But I'm going to be passive aggressive in my head about
Gotcha.
how annoyed I am.
We had that a lot. People drive by. You're thinking your morning commute. You're already late. You burned your English muffin. Your wife didn't make you your coffee right, or your husband. We don't judge.
And then I see two Malooks
Just hanging out, having pocket
Like,
snacks.
there's my
High
tax
goings,
dollars.
Yep. What's happening is you have one guy that's on the man lift. So
Okay.
when I go down, I have a hook to my back. Not only do I have my umbilical, but OSHA and their infinite wisdom stated I need to have a hook on my back as well. So one guy's, that's what he's there for. He does not leave that hook. You might think he's just doing nothing. But when I need him to do something,
Right, he
does it.
Okay.
Now, the other guy who's standing next to that jamoke is tending the hose. So when they have to come up on me, he has to make sure that hose comes up with me. Otherwise, I'm fouled. I can't move. They're pulling on me. He's pulling on me. There has to be constant communication and come up at the same time. So people drive by and think they're doing nothing. And I'm always like, how about I put you in the hole? And then we'll go have coffee. We'll go hide so it don't bother you.
All right, so give those guys a break. They're doing something important.
something.
Is that you? You're the hook
Thank you.
guy?
Usually, yeah. I usually have his life in my hands half the time. 'Cause
Wow. Has anyone died down there
In the sewer or the
working? Have sewer divers?
Not from Mac
Have
Crew.
sewer divers died, say in the
Oh,
city?
Yes,
I'm
they've
sure
died,
from
but not
gas-
from drowning,
gas
from
explosions.
gassing. From gas.
Yeah.
So
Gas
they're
explosions.
cutting something, doing something down there, or even a hammer hitting a piece of metal and causing a spark.
But they're not wearing the proper respirators. They breathe in sewer gas.
Yeah.
Alex, how do you think you'd do in the sewer?
Oh, not well.
Not well?
I don't think so. I think I'd be too grossed out by everything.
Where's the can-do attitude? I'll tell you what, the grossness, it sounds like it goes away as soon as you go to the bank.
Yeah.
You walk in that bank, you're like, I'm okay with this.
I feel
A
squeaky
lollipop,
clean. Yeah.
little bleach. you're
Lollipop
fine.
does help.
I like to drink bleach.
You like to drink bleach?
Keep me clean.
Chase it with a Tide Pod?
Yeah. Remember that? Remember that trend? I've never picked one of those up. I use a full house full of kids. I've never picked them and go, I'm going to eat this, son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's like
Not
a
once.
gummy bear.
No, we have gummy bears with us. We always have those.
Oh, on the boat? What's
Always.
essential on the boat?
John,
Water, jerky, and fuel.
gummy bears.
Sponsored by
Gummy
Beef
bears, too.
Jerky? Sponsored
I'm a
by
big fan.
Jack Links? What's
I'm working on them.
They're liking his
Check
posts.
your messages. You're liking my posts, but
You're
check
not.
my messages. I sent them messages about it. They haven't gotten back to me yet.
well, I'll cut out
Animal, feed your wild side. Come on.
Wow.
You and the Sasquatch in the East River?
fight
Making
Sasquatch,
sweet,
yeah.
sweet love.
We shot a Jack Links thing with Clay Matthews once. I actually got inside that suit. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell people I got inside that suit.
I got to wear the werewolf of the Chiefs. I'm talking about the suit.
Yeah, that guy is
He's in jail,
rumored
bank
to
robber?
have
Yeah.
robbed a bank in
love
the
that.
suit.
I love that.
Like that guy robbed the bank in his famous costume. It
But
didn't
they make
any
so
sense.
many of them. Barstool had one.
Oh.
And I was talking to Billy Football, and he's giving us swag. I'm like, I want the suit.
He
I
ga-
want the suit and the big check. The big check behind him.
Did he
He's
give
like,
you the suit?
No.
He
First,
just let you get in
he
it.
handed me the mask. He's like, here you go. I'm like, I'm done here. Nothing else I need. And he goes, oh, wait, no, I need that for another shoot. You can't have it. I'm like, whoa,
take backs.
whoa, you gave this to me. He ended up giving me a bunch of fireball shooters as a
Nice.
trade. So
Good
me and a
trade.
bunch of people on the train got drunk that night.
Not as good as having the mask.
No.
Though, just be honest.
I got to wear it, though. And I got to hold the big check.
Yeah,
Nope.
I did
Okay.
get sick from the Sasquatch costume.
What happened?
Well, I mean, this is kind of nasty, but I feel like I'm in good company for that because you guys
Lay it on me.
have a strong stomach.
I'll be the judge of this.
So we filmed in this bubble with a full 4 videos in this soccer bubble in July. And literally I had the guy that was in the Sasquatch suit and we had to run cold water, like tubing, so he could take a break. We could plug in and just run cold water to cool him off.
we do that, but with hot water. So I understand you.
So we were doing that and the shoot was a long day and I needed this green screen shoot 3 days later where had to get someone in the suit and film it on green screen. Now, getting that guy to get back in a suit was too expensive. I happen to be the same height. I'm like, whatever, I'll get in the
Like
suit.
$3.99 right here.
Yeah, exactly. However, you need to air that suit out because you can't wash it for like 2 weeks. Got in that nasty ass
ringworm?
suit and I had like the flu in July 2 days later. It was nasty.
Scurvy.
Scurvy,
HPV?
yeah, probably. HPV.
Something crazy.
One of the two.
Yeah, so anyway, Jack Links, beef jerky.
Give us a call.
Give him a call.
Read John's messages,
I have
please.
great ideas.
Trinity Solar, though, has been A-okay with us.
Trinity Solar, those guys. are
Top
the
notch.
Best name in solar power.
They've been taking care of us financially.
Really?
Very kind people and generous lovers.
What is the what's the threshold you got to break to be labeled a master
I
boner?
think it's 500. I'm told.
What is John Reeves? He's a
Master boner.
No, he's definitely a master boner.
No, it's like I think it's
A level up.
A
Platinum
Jedi boner.
10,000 or something crazy number, 10 or 50,000 bones you have to find. He's the only master boner currently.
So to just be called a boner, are you guys a boner because
Yeah,
you found
boners,
this
yeah, boners,
because of this jaw?
Which I really enjoy the term.
What's the play here for you guys? You're spending a lot of money. You're investing a lot of time. Are you documenting this to make it a film at the end of the day?
Well, we were picked up. We were asked to do a television show. We're waiting to hear back. I mean, there is things in the future for us.
We're just going right now, day by day, just to see where it takes us.
Funky Town, mostly.
As much media as you can
Sports,
do,
yeah.
get your name out.
We went diving with Barstool Sports.
Awesome.
January.
We have the Diesel Brothers are coming out us on the 26th, 27th, and 28th of this month. Which, way to go, those guys. Those guys are digging out people over in California right now.
Shout out to Diesel Brothers, digging out people in California, the blizzard.
They did their own caravan. They got all their own gear. They said, we're coming to help you. People have been snoring for like 12 days out there.
Yes.
They're bringing food, supply, medicine, all on their own dime.
Our first podcast guest on the Rebel Roadshow was Nick Midwig, a cinematographer who just shot out there. And he on his Instagram, he was filming in the middle of that blizzard. And I was like, "Are you in Antarctica again?" And he's like, "I'm in the Sierra."
Again.
Yeah. He had been in Antarctica for this Nat Geo show, Mars. So you got things in the work. How much has life changed since Discovery Plus show?
Well, I get along with him a lot better.
Yeah, because you see it edited and
Well, we see each other every day anyway, but we tend not to agree on a lot of things. We tend to be combative just because we're fucking brothers. And I'm like, hey, it's a nice day. I'm like, don't say it's nice. You don't know the end of the day. Like, we argue about.
It's been
dumb
that
shit.
way since we're little kids.
Yeah, but nowadays we have such a level head about where we're going, what we want, that we're in such agreeance that we don't divert from that plan.
It's better not to rock the boat.
Yeah, don't rock the boat, baby.
so what is it that you guys want?
I want fuck you money.
Yeah,
I want
sounds
to.
good.
People make money to be famous. I'm going to make money to go live in the mountains. I want to have a little farm, my 5 kids, and once a week go shoot an episode somewhere, and then get to go home and hang out with my kids. Because at the end of the day, I'm a father, right? That's my
Right.
job. We're all fathers. So my mindset is my job on this earth is to be a father. Everything else I do fundraises that job.
I like that. That's
so
a good
if I
way to
can
look at it.
fundraise better to do my job better, well, that makes my life easier.
And when your kids like you, it's kind of cool.
That's a plus.
Yeah.
That's nice. You don't
I
have
want
to.
to. I want to kind of meet famous people and hang out with them sometimes.
You're in it.
Sometimes.
You're in it for the parties. You want the red carpet.
but also just be invited on this podcast or go and hey, we're having a little shindig at this restaurant. Why don't you come by?
And what kind of finger food you got?
Yeah.
What are you serving? It's on the
Should I
list.
line my pockets with plastic bags or something
Okay,
like that?
all
Well, you get that much clout that you walk out with a tray. It's just expected.
Yeah, tell
Like,
the guy, hey, buddy.
There John goes with his tray of food.
Yeah.
Ha, got him again.
Throw the leftovers in my truck.
You guys are on your way. You just need to find those 12-foot tusks, and that'll
all I
fundraise
gotta
whatever
do.
you want.
It's a
Just as a
small
small little thing.
Again, we don't know if
Just-
they were we don't know if they were even in that boxcar.
That's true. They probably didn't throw away the 12-foot tusks.
Probably not. No.
How long will you keep on keeping on?
Well, like Joe Dirt says, you keep on keeping on. It's as far as it takes me.
We will take a break to go on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, give your pitch to Joe. I mean, you found the jawbone.
Yeah, but I believe his post was
He wants the tusks.
Yeah, but again, that's not guaranteed.
Right.
You don't know if they're in there.
That's true.
Well,
I
also,
mean-
there's no earthly business for that jawbone to be where it was.
The Ice Age happened everywhere.
Yeah,
So-
but
I'm playing devil's advocate. I would love to say 100% guaranteed this is what it is. I would love to be able to tell you that. But in the real world, in reality, is a buffalo could have died there in the Ice Age.
It just happens to be right as this guy dropped a story.
Yeah, it just so happens.
You found a link to this area in
I
the
mean,
East
it fits,
River.
and I agree with it. It fits. But to dig behind why we're not on Rogan today, it could be because it could have been that. We need more than
Right.
just the one.
Right.
And the problem is the river's huge. Yeah, it's a big river. It's been navigable for over 200 years. There's a lot of shit on the bottom we have to get past to find what we're looking for. It's a lot. Realistically, it's a lot. So I'm giving this, I say another year. I do another year.
You do a whole year in the East
Yeah,
River.
You know what? I can sit back on my
You're gonna
front
drop like
porch.
100 grand.
It's only money. They're making new every day, brother. They're
They
making
print
money
new every day. That's
day.
true. That is true.
Every day there's new.
Wow.
Plus, our kids are doing current reports on their school about us. That's gangster shit.
That's cool.
yeah.
Hey, you're gonna do a current event this week.
I'm sure
doing my
career
dad.
day, you're quite the hit.
I was just hit up by the PTA wanting to come in to the career day thing. at our hometown of North Arlington, the mayor wants us to do a little show.
You're like appearance fee.
Yeah, I want a key to the city.
Dog and Pony show this summer.
Key to the city?
Yeah, my mom would love that.
I
Imagine
like
that. The town you grew up in, you get a key to the city.
I
It's
like
only
that.
1 square mile and half of it's cemetery, but
Yeah, we're in the
still
Guinness Book of World Record. More dead than alive.
Well, listen, you guys, I'm big fans. I wish you the best of luck.
Steal the coasters.
Steal the coasters for sure. We'll get some more swag than that. But I think this is really cool what you're doing. It's
Thank you.
giving people a sense of adventure, sense of wonder, and to put your own money up and go for it. I hope you find it. I hope
If
you...
those jerk offs with the keyboards would stop saying that we're getting funding from people.
Right, but that's what the internet's for. What are those trolls going to do?
Look at pornography, everyone else on the internet.
Well, gentlemen, thank you. It's an honor to meet you.
It was a pleasure.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thank you.
And thank you for bringing in the jawbone. That was pretty.
Thank you for
fucking
making
cool.
our dirty waters.
Delicious.
Oh, you're welcome. Hopefully it's better than your dirty water.
I like it.
Compliments to the chef.
When you find those tusks, don't forget about your friends at Rebel Road.
I'll tell you what. We find tusks. I'll come back here. And
We'll be
make-
back on.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys.
Zucks, send it to the internet.